Hey everybody, this is Dr. Anthony Cipperoni from Action Performance Care. We are back at Stratum Fitness with Eric. He's going to show you some of the exercises he's been doing to help with his hip pain and to help increase stability through the hip. So stay tuned for that. That is coming right up.
Alright guys, so the first exercise we have here is the McGill curl up. So we're going to show you a demo of that right now. So Anthony is going to go ahead and lay supine on his back. And he's going to have the feet just kind of standing with a little bend at the knee here. He's going to take his hands behind the small of his low back here, getting them nice and flat on the ground. You should have those hands kind of overlapping over one another. And then from here, he's going to go ahead and straighten out one leg while keeping the other leg just in that kind of bent position. Okay, so from this position, he's trying to think initially that the first thing he wants to do is press that low back into his hands to make sure he's getting a nice kind of neutral hip position, and he's then activating his core properly. So he's going to do that first and press into the hands there with his low back, and you can see that position change through his hips. And then from there, he's going to raise nice and controlled through the chest, kind of pulling that chest off the ground and getting that curling motion as he comes up, and then he'll kind of relax the shoulder blades back down to the floor there. And then we'll just repeat that process, right? So he's always going to try to press the low back into the hands, and then raising from the chest, and then we'll just relax back to the floor. Okay, so that's our McGill curl up. All right guys, so next exercise we have that's been helping with my hip pain is our lunge anti-rotation. You can do this with the bands. We're using a crossover symmetry band here, which works well for this. So what Anthony's going to do is he's going to come out a few steps out here so he can get some tension on his bands. He's going to split that stance so he has kind of a lunge position. And then he's just going to drop his hips down a little bit to get a little bit of activation here through that midline and the hips. He's trying to keep his elbows nice and locked out as he's doing this, keeping that belly nice and engaged so everything's nice and neutral. And then all he's going to do from here, so you kind of have two options with this. He can either just do some real subtle movements where he's pulling against that band, kind of resisting that anti-rotation, or he can do some presses in which he brings the arms in towards the chest, and then he'll press back out to that locked out position, also resisting the tension of the band there. Okay, so this is our lunged banded anti-rotation. All right guys, the last exercise we have for our hip series today is going to be the side plank with a hip extension. So what we're going to have Anthony do here is he's going to go to a nice side plank kind of setup with the elbow sitting right underneath his shoulder here, so that elbow staying nice and supported, or the shoulder staying nice and supported there. And then what he's going to do to make sure he can achieve that hip extension at the top portion of the side plank, he's going to have a little bend at his knees here. So he's thinking of like a 90-degree angle at the knees, to where those feet come back in line with the rest of his body. Okay, so you can see here that his knees are out in front. And then all he's going to think of doing is as he presses up through that elbow into the ground, he's going to extend his hips forward to achieve that hip extension as he's kind of bridging up into that side plank. And then he'll just control that eccentric on the way down. So he's making sure that he's activating through the hip musculature there to control that descent. Okay, so this is our side plank with hip extension. Not only is he working kind of the obliques here and that musculature of the side of the core there, as well as he's getting some really good hip activation at the same time. Very nice.
It's so wordy. I can ramble for...
It's so hard not to do that. With Dr. Anthony at Performance, is it Action Performance? Let's try again.
Where do you work again?
I don't even know anymore.
Are you sure you still have a job?
Yeah, it's a little iffy at this point.
Yeah.
That was not going well.
Okay.